Yes. I think this should do much more nicely. Now, before we address business, it might be useful for us each to take a moment to introduce ourselves. As Wordsworth wrote, "Shout round me, let me hear thy shouts, thou happy shepherd boy." Now, who would like to begin? Well, heck, I never had a problem being the first one out of the chute. Hello, I am Jasper, and let me just say that I'm about as happy as a two-tailed dog to be here. Looking forward to whatever you got to say. How you doing? My name is Sheila, and I'm so sorry once again. Yeah, I said my name is Sheila. Shh. Apologies. Please continue. So anyway, like my good friend and colleague Jasper said, glad to be here. Talk about whatever you want. Yes, well, to be direct, here is my proposal. That you two fine individuals take on the role of double agents, as it were, in an effort to infiltrate and undermine my former business associate's work. Sadly, the man has been overcome with false ambition and delusions of grandeur. A situation with which I'm sure you're even more familiar than I. Oh, believe me, whatever we can do to help. At the beginning, he swore the whole thing was going to be equal. Man in mugs taking over the internet. Now it's just props. Something to help him make a quick buck while he tries to skew to a younger crowd.
Could not
have you seen this guy lately? He's like a walking dad joke. Of course. Truly sad. Well, your response bodes well for our future partnership. I am first and foremost committed to two things: efficiency and alignment. And the first step of this endeavor seems to be on a path which will lead resoundingly to both. And so, in that spirit, a toast to the future. Yes? Well, I certainly don't want to be the hamster in the hay bale here, but how would that even work? A toast, Exactly. Do we drink out of ourselves? Because I wouldn't even know where to start with that. Are there smaller mugs we drink out of? And if so, are they also alive? Because in that case, and I don't want to put words in Sheila's mouth here. No, I'm right there. Believe me, I had the exact same thought. Thank you, Sheila, because, if that's true, then I really see a whole mess of ethical and political questions here. And believe me, I don't want to get things started off on the wrong foot, because after all, no need for this thing to turn out like a polecat at a PTA meeting. Otherwise, we're looking rougher than a pulpwood truck in a cotton patch, when I, for one, would much rather be smiling like a goat in a briar patch. I am filming this as of 6:20 or so, Monday night. And as of that time, between 10 and 15 total students have not completed the test, which means it's possible that you won't have it completed before the testing window is closed. I know it sounds like at least once a week I repeat myself on this point, and I am going to repeat it again. Gentlemen, I know that there is a lot that is unpredictable about this whole situation. There are things in your lives that you probably never expected to have to deal with that now all of a sudden you and your families are having to deal with. I understand that to a very, very deep degree. Believe me, I am in the same situation. That said, everything about the way the system is set up is designed to allow you to remove as much of that burden from yourself as possible. And it's simple. When you check in, look at the folder, read everything inside of it, then plan what you're going to do. Don't assume the work is just my math lab. If you get a video quiz, watch it all the way through, as some of you guys understood. This is not because of anything I want. It is because of my desire to give you a structure that allows you to be successful. If you took the test today, first of all, I'm grateful to you for watching this now. This is not necessarily intended for you. However, let me get to what is intended for you. Today's schedule is going to change just a bit. Number one, if the test is incomplete, you need to finish it today. You will receive a 10% point penalty per day for every day that it is not finished. In addition, most of the sections are going to see a grade adjustment based on what the high score in each class was. Any student who is testing late will not be eligible for that adjustment. If you did finish the test, and I thank you for that, that's the vast majority of people. And if it did not go well, don't worry. Come see me in live conferences this morning. Email me, see me on Thursday. You know there is no version where this does not get worked out. I am aware of the unconventional nature of this situation, and I am committed to working with you on it. If you completed the test, then good news. You have no homework today, effectively. I want you to take a look at today's video and review it. You will notice that in a moment, I'm going to dissolve to the video from last Wednesday, where we introduced the new material. You've already done homework over this. If you're done with it, then you are done for the day. Review it so that you make sure you understand what's going on. In advanced math, that's logarithms. In Algebra I, that's roots and radicals. Review that information, look over your homework, be ready to tie things off before Easter with a nice bow. That said, sorry, unintentional joke. That said, please, gentlemen, if there is anything I can do to help make this process easier, let me know. But I must tell you in response, if you are not already using the tools which have been provided for you, then everything has to begin with that. I want to wish you all a good morning. After this, you'll see the dissolve to last week's material. Please review and be ready for class tomorrow. Thank you, and have a good day. Okay, good morning, guys. So we're starting some new material today. It's chapter 9 in your e-text. We're going to be skipping chapter 8 for now, but we'll be coming back to it later. So I want to let you know that starting today and tomorrow, the material we cover is not going to be on your test. And please be aware that due to the schedule change and the removal of remote learning on Friday, your test is going to be on Monday. So it's very important that you take some time, both Thursday and over the weekend, to prep as you need to for that test. But I want to make it clear, the stuff we're covering now is not going to be on that test. We'll save that for later. I'll come back at another time and let you know sort of what's going to be on the test. You'll see that on tomorrow's video, actually. All right, so what we're going to talk about today is a variation on exponents. You guys have already, we've had plenty of time to work with this. This should really be a pretty quick and easy start for you. So there's some really important concepts that you need to understand here. We get already that exponents, raising something to a power, means multiplying it by itself that many times. So 3 to the third power is 3 times 3 times 3, or 27. But what about if we go in the other direction? In other words, can we start with a larger number and then break that down into some root, using the term square root, for example, that multiplies to equal it? So we're going to be talking about sort of the flip side of exponents, if you will, and that's what is known as roots and radicals. And when we talk about a radical, and you'll see this in the notes that are supplied for today, we're really just talking about that square root sign, what we might call the square root sign. So this first day is going to be really, really easy, so I'm not going to take up too much of your time with it. Most of you feel pretty good already about the idea of what we mean when we talk about the square root. In other words, one thing multiplied by itself one time, so blank times blank, equals a value. 4 times 4 equals 16, 5 times 5 equals 25, 10 times 10 equals 100. So most of what you're going to be doing is that simple. I do want you to note down here something real quick. The only way, so I'm going to cut to the chase on this. There's no way right now that we can take the square root of a negative number. So for example, if you think about -4, there's nothing you can multiply by itself to equal -4. Because 2 times 2 equals +4. But by the same token, -2 times -2 also equals +4. So when we take the square root of any value, we generally talk about it as though it is the positive version of that square root. But when you think about it for a second, 25 actually has 2 square roots. 5 is the square root of 25, 5 times 5. But so is -5, because -5 times -5 is also 25. So this can get a little confusing, but the short version is this. You want to be on the lookout for negative signs in front of a root. And that's generally how we write that we want to express the negative version of that. So if you ever saw something like square root of -25 and -25 was in that radical, we couldn't do anything with that. But if we had negative square root of 25, now that we can work with. Square root of 25 is 5, and then put a negative sign in front of it to get -5. I'm showing you a couple of more complex examples from your notes because most of them are really pretty easy. We can absolutely take the square root of a fraction by just taking the square root of both the numerator and the denominator. So here the square root of 9 is 3. Square root of 100 is 10. Easy enough. Here's one of those negatives that I talked about. What is the negative square root of 64? Well, the square root of 64 is positive 8, also possibly negative 8, but we think of it in terms of 8. And then we just put a negative sign at the front to get negative 8. Easy. Something else that's pretty easy here. Cube roots, which we've already been working with factoring and stuff like that. Instead of multiplying something by itself twice, we're going to multiply it by itself 3 times. So what is the cube root of 27? What times what times what is 27? Well, 3 times 3 is 9, times 3 again is 27. Now you're going to notice with any odd numbered roots, that is cube roots, or any other, the term we call it is index, that lets us know what the root is, that's an odd number, there we can have negative answers and we can take the odd roots of negative numbers. Because remember, if I'm multiplying a negative number an odd number of times, I'm gonna get a negative answer. So think about this, for example. If we were normally doing the cube root of 64, we think about it for a second, that would be 4 times 4 is 16, times 4 is 64. Well, our answer would be 4. And you might think when you see this negative number in the root, wait, you just told us that you can't take the square root of a negative number, you have to do it like this. With odd numbered roots, you can. Just think about it for a second. Negative 4 times negative 4 is positive 16. But then positive 16 times negative 4 makes it negative again, and it becomes negative 64. Just be on the lookout for that. Lastly, we can raise things to, or we can work with radicals, to whatever root we want. It doesn't just have to be 2 or 3. It could be 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, as high as we want to go. Now, generally here, you're not going to see us getting numbers higher than 4 or 5. So here's some examples. We would call this the 4th root of 16. Oh, well, what number multiplied by itself 4 times equals 16? Here's where knowing cubes and squares is really going to be a big help for you. Okay, 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. 8 times 2 is 16. That's 2 multiplied by itself 4 times, so the 4th root of 16 is 2. Hey, look, what's the 5th root of negative 32? There's one of those odd roots, so we should feel a little better about the square root of a negative number. Once again, negative 2 times negative 2 is 4, positive 4. Times negative 2 again is negative 8. Times negative 2 again is positive 16. And then times negative 2 one more time, 5 times total, is negative 32. And then lastly, one like we've done before. Well, what's the 4th root of 81? Okay? Well, it would help if I actually wrote the right answers down on some of these. The 4th root of, the negative 4th root of 81. Well, what's the 4th root of 81? Well, 3 times 3 is 9, times 3 is 27, times 3 is 81. But then because we have a negative sign, we just put it in the front of this. So basically, guys, as long as you're feeling good working with roots, exponents, multiplication, you know your multiplication tables, you're going to be pretty good where this is concerned. We're only doing part 1 of this section today. We're going to take a look at it some more tomorrow, but don't forget, neither of these 2 days will be on your test on Monday. So if you have any questions, get in touch with me, or I will see you on the conference on Thursday, thinking through, tomorrow. So check in with me there, send me an email. Good luck on the homework, and I will see you tomorrow.